Hello, we are the Valley Harpers, and we are so happy to be able to play for you today. This is Kitty Falcone, Patty Dickens, Debbie Christ. We are happy to be joined with two special guests, Reagan Gallagher, Brandon Dodge, and I'm Bev Colgan. And I need glasses. We are going to start with 4 holiday pieces from England. Merry old England, except for the last carol. The music dates back to the 1600s. The first piece is Ding Dong Merrily on High. It's a carol from the 1600s, but the words were written in the 1800s. Many carols are like this. The melodies have lasted for centuries, and people have gotten inspired to write words to them during all the centuries. This is a piece that's called a macaronic style carol. Macaronic doesn't mean pasta. It means that the carol has 2 different languages intertwined. It starts out in English, but the chorus is in Latin, Gloria in excelsis Deo. There's a modern Christmas song that is macaronic style too, and we all know it. Jose Feliciano's Feliz Navidad, which combines English and Spanish. Our second piece is wassail. Wassail. I'm not quite sure, people pronounce it different ways. But a wassail is, there are 2 kinds. One is the kind where people go from house to house and offer a drink from the wassail bowl in exchange for goodies. This is a tradition that's been going on for a long time. Trick-or-treating's the same kind of thing. Wassailing still exists, but mostly has been replaced by Christmas caroling. So now when we go caroling, we sing wassailing songs. There's a second kind of wassail, though, that I would like to participate in sometime, and that's the orchard wassail. People would go out into their orchards and sing songs to the trees to encourage them to give a good harvest the next summer. This is a wassail from Gloucestershire. In the verses, they sing to the person's cow and horse and maid and sheep and so forth, encouraging them all to have a happy new year. This next piece is a piece that every harpist has to learn at some point because it is requested 12 months out of the year. It's an all-year piece. For 11 months, it's an Elizabethan lover's lament to his Lady Greensleeves. Alas, my love, you do me wrong to cast me off discourteously. It's just like a sad country western song. But the melody is so beautiful that in the 1800s, there was an insurance company manager by the name of William Chatterton Dix, a good Englishman, and he wrote a poem, and part of this poem was set to this tune. Dix had been struck by a severe illness. That sounds familiar. And while recovering, he underwent a spiritual renewal that led him to write several hymns, including the lyrics to this carol. Now, believe it or not, this is one of the pieces that the beginners all learn for a very good reason. Harps don't have black keys or slides or valves. Whatever key you're tuned in is what you get. But if you see us raising our hands to the neck of the harp and flipping something up, we are flipping levers that have been added to the harps that fret the strings and make the string a half step higher. So towards the end of each section of this song, you'll see all of our hands fly up to create a G sharp and then disengage it a few measures later. This is My Lady Greensleeves, but at Christmas, this is What Child Is This? Although Jesus was born in warm, sunny Israel, in 2,000 years, many cultures have given the Christmas story local scenery and local weather. And English poets have taken the local cold, snowy weather into account when they've written about the Christmas story. Part of a poem begins, "In the bleak midwinter, frosty wind made moan. Earth was hard as iron, water like a stone." That's how the poem by English poet Christina Rossetti began. It was published under the title A Christmas Carol in January 1872. Gustav Holst, the famous English composer who wrote The Planets, liked the words and set her poem to music in 1906. This beautiful arrangement is by Sylvia Woods, one of the best-known contemporary composers, arrangers, and performers on the lever harp. I lost my notes for Jingle Bells. I don't know why I need notes for Jingle Bells. First of all, Jingle Bells didn't start out as a Christmas piece at all. It just got associated with Christmas as the years went on. It was just basically a sleigh riding song that we think the composer wrote mainly because he needed some money. But it became a wildly successful hit. So this is going to begin our next group of 3 songs, which we dedicate to all the Christmas animals that sometimes get a little short shrift in the Christmas story. Sure, we've got sheep and the oxen and the lambs and the cows in the stable and the doves in the rafters and all the friendly beasts. But we need horses too. As a matter of fact, they think that the 3 kings would have traveled on horses since they had money, only the poor people traveled on camels. But the camels carried all the stuff. So I will tell you about all 3 pieces. First is Jingle Bells, dedicated to the horse. The second is Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and there are reindeer that really do have red noses. And probably all, if, or at least most of the reindeer pulling Santa's sleigh were girls. They'd made much better draft animals than the nasty boys, who were not good for much except making other little reindeers. And we are going to end up with one of my favorite Christmas arrangements, We Three Kings. Do the camels or the horses? Does anybody get mentioned in that song once? No. But they're an arranger who I think just decided that it would sound good to have those camels going. You can hear the camels in this arrangement, and I get to be the lead camel. Hanukkah begins this Thursday at sundown. It's also a festival of light and celebration, and we love these traditional songs. Our Patty Dickens, who is Roman Catholic, married a Jewish husband, and she ended up the music director at Temple Sinai for many years. So she has coached us. This is a medley of the Hanukkah song, the dreidel song, dreidel song, Hanukkah Chag Yafe, and Svivon. Svivon is also a song about dreidels. And we will then play another English one. I saw 3 ships come sailing in on Christmas Day. Now, it's a 17th century song. The lyrics mention ships sailing into Bethlehem, but the nearest body of water is the Dead Sea, which is 20 miles away. Details. If the English carol writers can have snow, Bethlehem can have a port. And would you believe that one of the recordings on YouTube of this song is by Sting? Then comes a favorite modern Christmas song, The Little Drummer Boy. It was originally known as Carol of the Drum. It was written by the American classical music composer and teacher Catherine Davis in 1941. It was first recorded in 1951 by the Trapp Family Singers. The song was further popularized in 1958 by the Harry Simeon Chorale. And a very recent recording wonderful recording has been made by the Pentatonics. The last piece in this group is a wonderful Ukrainian song. It originally told the tale of a swallow flying into a household to proclaim the plentiful and bountiful year that would follow. I think we need some swallows this year. It was popularized by an a cappella group from the Ukraine when it toured the West in 1920. And in 1936, Peter Wilhowsky of NBC Radio, he's the guy that wrote the fabulous arrangement of the Battle Hymn of the Republic. He was captivated by the music, and the song reminded him of ringing bells, so he wrote the English words that we know. Hark how the bells, sweet silver bells, and so forth and so on. So we start with Hanukkah, and we end with the Ukraine. We're going to return to the United States now and play 3 American pieces of holiday music. We'll start with The Lone Wild Bird. This kind of morphed from several different things. The arrangers of this modern version envisioned 2 birds calling to each other, coming together in harmony and celebration, and finally one of them flying off alone. The tune is an old hymn called Prospect that was published in 1835. And then another element, Henry McFadden wrote a poem during the 20th century that spoke of the lone wild bird as the Great Spirit. David Johnson combined the hymn tune and McFadden's words, and then it was arranged by these 2 people, the Thormelins, who also make wonderful lever harps. Following that will be Carlos Salcedo's arrangement for harp solo of the old, beautiful Appalachian tune called I Wonder as I Wonder. I wonder as I wonder out under the sky why Jesus the Savior did come for to die for poor ornery people like you and like I. And to end this section, you are all invited to chime in on the chorus of, I'm not going to tell. You'll know it when you hear it. Now we have a special surprise. Those of you who know me know that for the last 40 years or so, I had a harp and vibraphone duo with my late husband, Joe Venuto. He's gone, but his vibraphone is not, and I'm retired from concert grand harp playing, but the harp playing goes on. Today, I'd like to introduce Reagan Gallagher, a former student who is now a harp major at UNR, and Brandon Dodge, who is a graduate of music at UNR, who bought Joe's vibraphone in 2018. They are going to perform their own arrangement of Silent Night. Johann Sebastian Bach had a great job. He got paid to write music for the Sunday services every week in the major churches of Leipzig. It was a good job. He would be responsible for writing a whole new cantata. And one of the things he would do is he would take a church hymn that everybody knew and arrange it for the church choir, the orchestra, the organ, and making a simple hymn into an ornamented work of art. One of the best known is Jesu, Joy of Man's Desiring. You won't even hear the church hymn until the middle of the piece, and I think you'll know when that starts to happen because we will sort of be trying to mimic the choir and the organ. But the winding, singing counterline is Bach's own, and you will hear it everywhere from church performances to elevators to Rayleigh's background music. I have heard it everywhere. Some people don't even know it's by Bach. Some people think it's an Irish dance tune. But if you want to see how this piece is staying alive into the 21st century, check out on YouTube the arrangement for jazz ensemble by the acclaimed pianist and conductor John Batiste, whom you might recognize as the band leader on Late Night with Stephen Colbert. So, that will be a very classical piece, not necessarily a Christmas tune, but an all year round tune. I have played it at so many weddings, I could get up in the middle of the night and play it in the dark. Now, a while back, David Buckley, who is the conductor of the Carson City Symphony, wrote a piece for our big harp group, the whole gang in town, and the harp group and his orchestra. It was based on Spanish Christmas carols. He called it In Esta Noche Tan Fría, in this night so cold. We performed it a number of times over the years with different orchestras, and most recently with the Reno Phil, where we had 23 harps on stage. This is in 2014 in the Spirit of the Season concert. Here is a section of that piece called A la Puerta, my Spanish doesn't exist, A la Puerta en Belén, which is at the door of the stable. And it's one of the most joyful pieces in the work. we are at the end of our concert. We are so grateful to First Congregational Church for letting us practice all summer out in the lawn by the preschool, and later in here where we could be socially distanced. We wish you a merry stay-at-home Christmas and are so grateful that we were able to share our music with you. If anybody feels like singing along to the last song, it's one of those wassailing things. Have a happy holiday and stay safe and well.